A world of walls, 10 countries kicking out immigrants. Look, I'm not saying things are great right now. We're talking global supply chain issues, climate change making Florida look like Waterworld. And don't even get me started on the price of a reasonably sized apartment these days. It's enough to make anyone want to pack their bags and start fresh somewhere new. But here's the kicker, folks. A lot of countries aren't exactly rolling out the welcome mat these days. 2025 is turning into a tough year for immigrants. Countries around the globe are tightening their borders, enforcing deportations and revamping their immigration laws. So buckle up, buttercups, because today we're diving headfirst into the murky waters of global immigration. Stay tuned as we reveal 10 countries making headlines for kicking out immigrants and the reasons behind these controversial decisions. America first, immigrants last. The US immigration crackdown. The land of the free, home of the brave, and increasingly the land of sorry, we're full. The United States, a nation built on immigration, seems to have developed a bit of an aversion to it lately. The current administration, facing pressure from, well, pick a hot button issue, has decided that the best way to solve the nation's problems is to, you guessed it, blame immigrants. They're taking a page from the Wizard of Oz playbook. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, just focus on the scary foreigners. Deportation rates are soaring higher than a bald eagle on a sugar rush, and the few remaining legal pathways to immigration are about as wide as a squirrel's tightrope. Now, some might argue that these measures are necessary to protect national security and preserve jobs. But let's be honest, folks, this isn't about security, and it's certainly not about jobs. This is about fear of the unknown, fear of change, and let's be real, a good old-fashioned dose of xenophobia sprinkled on top. Brexit bites back the UK's immigration headache. Well, folks, it seems the Brits have finally gone and done it. They've successfully extracted themselves from the European Union like a wisdom tooth on a particularly bad day. Amidst this grand political experiment, there's one group that's feeling the aftershocks more than most immigrants. I remember all those promises about taking back control and reducing immigration. Well, it turns out those promises were about as substantial as a crumpet in a hurricane. The UK is facing labour shortages in key sectors, from healthcare to hospitality. But instead of admitting they might have miscalculated, the government is doubling down, making it even harder for immigrants to get a foot in the door. The irony, of course, is thicker than a bowl of lukewarm porridge. The very people who contribute so much to British society, the doctors, nurses, engineers and entrepreneurs, are being told their presence is no longer desired. Australia, land of sunshine and stricter borders. G'day, mates. Welcome to Australia, the land of sunshine, surfing, and increasingly, suspicion towards anyone who dares to arrive without an Australian passport. Australia, a nation built by immigrants, has seemingly decided that it's reached peak capacity. They've got their strict points-based immigration system, which sounds all well and good on paper, but in reality it's about as easy to navigate as the outback after a few too many Foster's lagers. And don't even get me started on their offshore detention centres, a controversial policy that's been condemned by human rights groups worldwide. Now some argue that these measures are necessary to protect Australia's unique ecosystem and cultural identity. But let's be real, folks. This isn't about protecting koalas or preserving the sanctity of Vegemite. This is about control over who gets to call Australia home and who's left out in the cold. Chapter 4. Germany. From welcome culture to closed doors, Guten Tag and welcome to Germany, a country that was once synonymous with Willkommenskultur, a welcoming culture that embraced refugees with open arms. But lately it seems that warm embrace has turned into a rather chilly shoulder. After the 2015 refugee crisis, when Germany accepted over 1 million asylum seekers, the political landscape began to shift. The rise of right-wing populist parties, fueled by anti-immigrant sentiment, has put pressure on the government to tighten the reins on immigration. The result? Stricter asylum laws, increased deportations, and a growing sense of unease among immigrant communities. Chapter 5. Saudi Arabia, oil wealth and the illusion of openness. Ahlan wa sahlan and welcome to Saudi Arabia, the land of vast oil reserves, glittering skyscrapers, and a rather complicated relationship with immigration. Saudi Arabia, despite its image as a global economic powerhouse, has long relied on a system known as kafala, which essentially ties foreign workers to their employers. This system, often criticized as exploitative and ripe for abuse, has left millions of migrant workers vulnerable to wage theft, passport confiscation and forced labor. They've implemented some reforms to the kafala system, but critics argue these changes are mostly cosmetic, doing little to address the underlying power imbalances. Chapter 6. Japan, the land of the rising sun and setting immigration hopes. Konnichiwa and welcome to Japan, the land of ancient traditions, cutting-edge technology, and a deep-seated cultural aversion to immigration. Japan, despite facing a shrinking population and a rapidly aging workforce, has long maintained some of the strictest immigration policies in the developed world. They've got their highly selective work visa programs, their emphasis on cultural homogeneity, and a general sense that Japan is for the Japanese. Now, some argue that Japan's unique culture and social cohesion are worth preserving, even if it means limiting immigration. But let's be real, folks, this isn't about preserving culture, it's about preserving privilege. Bonjour, eh? Welcome to Canada, the land of maple syrup, hockey, and, well, a surprisingly complex immigration system that's not always as welcoming as its friendly reputation might suggest. Canada, despite its image as a multicultural haven, has been quietly tightening its immigration policies in recent years. They've got their points-based system, which, like Australia's, sounds fair in theory but can be a bureaucratic nightmare in practice. And don't even get me started on their temporary foreign worker program, which often leaves migrant workers vulnerable to exploitation and abuse. It seems Canada is trying to strike a delicate balance, attracting skilled workers to fuel its economy while simultaneously appeasing those who worry that immigration is changing the face of Canada too rapidly. Hedge, and welcome to Sweden, the land of ABBA, meatballs, and a social welfare model that's often held up as a shining example for the rest of the world. But lately, that shining example has become a bit tarnished as Sweden grapples with the challenges of integrating large numbers of immigrants and refugees. Sweden, once known for its generous asylum policies, has experienced a surge in immigration in recent years, leading to social tensions and a rise in anti-immigrant sentiment. The result, stricter asylum laws, increased border controls, and a growing sense of uncertainty among immigrant communities. It seems Sweden is at a crossroads, trying to reconcile its humanitarian values with the realities of a rapidly changing society. Ciao and welcome to Italy, the land of pasta pizza, and a growing sense of unease about immigration. Italy, with its long coastline and proximity to North Africa, has become a major entry point for migrants and refugees seeking a better life in Europe. But Italy, grappling with its own economic woes and political instability, has taken a hard line on immigration, tightening its borders, cracking down on NGOs rescuing migrants at sea, and implementing policies that make it difficult for asylum seekers to find refuge. It's enough to make you wonder if La Dolce Vita, the sweet life, has lost some of its sweetness. Annyeonghaseyo, and welcome to South Korea, the land of K-pop kimchi and a growing sense of anxiety about immigration. South Korea, despite its economic success and technological prowess, has long maintained a homogeneous society, and immigration has been a relatively recent phenomenon. But as South Korea's population ages and its birth rate declines, the country is facing a labor shortage, leading to calls for more open immigration policies. However, these calls are often met with resistance from those who fear that immigration will erode South Korea's cultural identity and lead to social problems. It's enough to make you wonder if South Korea's morning calm will be disrupted by the winds of change. So, there you have it, folks. A whirlwind tour of 10 countries grappling with the complex and often contentious issue of immigration. These policies impact not just economies, but the lives of millions. If you or someone you know is navigating immigration or planning a move abroad, check out the travel essentials and guides we've linked in the description below. From legal resources to travel gear, these products can make a difference. Remember, knowledge is power, and in the ever-shifting landscape of global immigration, a little preparation can go a long way.